morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good Monday morning to everyone, all people, all colors, all races, all languages around the world. Good morning to everyone. May you have the most beautiful day for whatever goals that you have set forth for yourself on this day. As long as it benefits all of humanity, may those goals flourish and thrive and be spread amongst all of us out here. Good Monday morning. And today, this topic is specifically for the ladies, but it's for everyone. And you're going to get a lot out of this because over the weekend I was doing some research because what I'm finding is a lot of men like my age, some are older, some are even younger, and they just don't want relationships. Not saying that they never had relationships. Some of them were married and they just don't, after the wife passed, they don't want relationships. Some were in long-term relationships, got a divorce or got into a divorce and just decided that, they're not going to try again. They're not going to go forward. Now we have to say to ourselves, this isn't something that, this isn't the way things were done in the past for people my age who know this. So something had to take place, and I'm here to discuss this today. I was with a friend of mine yesterday, and as I say on every video, what makes me different from the average person is, I walk in pure light, I walk in my truth, and I don't look at something and be envious. I don't have those qualities of jealousy, envy, and things like that. Anyone who knows me knows I've never had that. So, what one man can do, another man can do. So during the process of having this type of, being this type of person, I've met a lot of people who are wealthy. I mean, wealthy beyond most wealth that people are, they walk around. So the person that I saw yesterday is a good friend of mine. I'm not going to mention his name. And, I hadn't seen him in a while. So, we're talking, and we're talking about, again, condolences to the people in the, Midwest because of the devastation. They're still trying to find people, and hopefully they'll find more people, and they'll find people alive and well. That's my hope, and hopefully it's the hope of everyone that's watching. So to get back to it, so we're walking, and like we're talking about the weather, and how what we've been saying on this channel, how devastating they're getting, more and more, worse and worse, and that's going to happen. That's non-negotiable, but we're not going to talk about that today. So at the end of the walk, because I do the trail every once in a while. With the weather now, you can't really get out to do it like that, so I have to, work out indoors. So we finished, and it's the end of the trail, and I'm leaving, but I'm going towards a store, and I walk because, like I said, I live in a small place. Everything is close together, and so he's like, no, no, and always, anytime that I've ever, anytime we've ever met up on the trail and we walk, I never accepted a ride. All the times that he was like, I'll give you a ride, I'm like, no, it's right around the corner, come on, and I always declined it. But yesterday I took it because he was like, look, Dennis, I'm gonna feel some kind of way if I'm trying to do something nice. I was like, okay. So as we're driving, he's like, you want to take a little ride? I was like, yeah. So we're riding, we're talking, and the car that this man has is Mercedes, sports Mercedes. It's when you see this Mercedes, you know that this is real money. You see Mercedes driving around all around, I have, and you say, okay, nice Mercedes, nice Mercedes. But then when you see this, you're like, I know this is over $100,000, which probably is. I never asked because I could care less. I don't know what type it is, but all I know is top of the line, brand new. So every light that we pulled up to, anytime that we were side by side with a car, female in here, even though I'm in the passenger seat, she's like looking and smiling. Different women doing this, and they're doing it to him too. And I was explaining to him, I said, man, I said, you see what's the difference? I said, you see me walking all the time, and no woman says, hey, let me stop, and hey, you need a ride, but now you see this and you want it. So now we understand what this philosophy is, what this mentality is, and for the women that's out there, there's a psychological issue that's going on, and I'll do a video on the men too, because there is one going on with the men as well, but the women more so. And I was, his response to me was, he's like, Dennis, when I sold my house, he said he moved in where I know where he lives because it's like one of the most exclusive gated townhouse communities in the valley. So you got to have real money to be in there, because I think some of those townhouses are millions of dollars, if I'm not mistaken. If not, they look like it, and they're huge. So I'm like, this is your, this is your townhouse. I can imagine what your house looked like because it was huge. So get back to the story. So his response was, he was like, yeah, that's where I live. That's why I brought up where he lived. He's like, where I live. He's like, there's a lot of single women that are out there. He said, however, they all want me to take care of them. He's like, you live in a, you got a bigger townhouse than mine. What do you want me to take care of you? So I was like, I said, yeah. I said, that's the backwards psychology that's, that's going on. They're thinking in these terms, and this term is being nurtured by all the power hunger, the struggle, and say, hey, men are so bad. They gotta pay. They gotta pay. They gotta pay. And I was like, I said, for me, to get away from what they were offering him. But for me, I've been single now, going on 5 years, 5 years, maybe even more. And it's not to say that I haven't met women, not to say that I haven't had sex. We're men. Men gonna do what they do. So for a man, just like a woman, one night stands they happen. But we understand that it's a one night stand, and the female understands it's a one night stand. So so uh, with me, where it came to dating, it was like where a woman would say to me, well, I really like you, but I got 2 kids, and I'm like, yeah, well, how old are they? And they'll be like, oh, one's a teen and one's this. But my thing is that automatically, as a man, it shut me down because I'm not introducing you to my kids, And if a man said to a woman, hey, I really like dating you, but I got 3 kids, a woman would say the same thing as a man. Like, wait a minute, I'm dating you. I'm not dating your kids. So there's something that's messed up going on here. That just the way that things are supposed to be, because relationships are supposed to be about love, and most men, real men, good men, that's all they care about, love. That 50-50. But we living in a world now where there's a lot of manipulation going on. Just to go back to saying, relationships that I've had, even long term. And this is another reason why, I don't want to go into relationships, as well as other men that I've talked to, they feel the same way. Is because that, of that backwards thinking, not willing to be 50-50. You got to take me, you got to take my baggage, you got to take my dog, and you got to take my cat to the vet every month, to get a haircut. That's a negotiation. So when we see, when you seeing these angry women out here, they would use every other excuse except for looking at themselves. And even it goes as deep as for the ones that are married. Good women are hard to find. I say it's only maybe 15% of marriages are based on that. And that's why I said some of the people I meet, they don't even want a relationship because they know that the jewel that they had, they'll never find again. They'll never find anyone with the mindset. They'll never find anyone with that drive. They'll never find anyone to bring about that companionship. So it's not worth, going out to do this. They'd rather go with one night stands. So when women sit back and you're on social media and you're talking about what a man should do, especially for the younger ones, what a man should do, I want this, he's got to make this, he's got to make this. Thank you, ladies. You've only duplicated yourself. And then when we look at the young men don't even see it that way. The young men don't look at a woman now to say, hey, I want to be with, I want to be with her, I want to date her. Young men today say, no, I want to sleep with her and her and her. I want to sleep with all 3 together. And that's the backwards psychology. So everything that we're doing as adults, every mentality that we're displaying, every kind of insecurity that we're displaying to these youths have broken records, world records, as far as violence, crime, and everything else. They've outdone the adults as far in the murder rate. Look it up for yourself. How can the juveniles outdo, and these are not just one race of people. This is all races of these kids. All these kids are acting out. And we're, if we say, well, it's easy to say, well, what about you? No. That's one of the things that I can honestly say that I'm proud of. That, I was there for my son. I raised a good son. And I raised a man. I didn't raise a boy. I raised a man. So, for me, whether it was up and down, the relationship rocky, but that's life. I still kept coming back. I still made sure that, I did whatever I could do to get away from that single mom mentality. And the single mom mentality that's what's hurting these youths the most. The single mom mentality where you're teaching these young men to, number one, you're teaching them to hate their fathers. When you teach a boy to hate his father, he hates you. He hates you because it's like his father is a man. He's a man, but he's a young man. And when people are putting, both sides, when people are putting their children into the mixes of their flaws, their problems, and you're talking about the husband when the husband is at work, or you're talking about the boyfriend when the boyfriend's not there, these kids are hearing this stuff. So what do you expect for them to do when they grow up? How do you expect for them to see things? And we don't look at what we're doing as adults as being an impact on what's going on in the world today. I did a video on that. It's easy to blame, and we're doing it, we're blaming, instead of looking at us, instead of saying I. So this is the result of it. This is the result. It's because now you do have these young kids who are sleeping with 3 and 4 women at one time, or girls at one time. So, and you got to think about, the confusion. So the only way we're going to stop this is that, it's for the women out there who are good women. Like I said, it's what we condone, and a lot of the women are condoning. even though they know that the person, their friend, has a real distorted view of, life and everything else. We just stay quiet. For me as a man, I don't do that. But I give people a choice. If this is the way you feel, that's cool. Stay with it. But we can't be friends. I say hi and goodbye. But outside of that, we can't be friends because there's a difference in how I feel that people should be treated and how I treat people. And I'm not going to condone, the actions of another man who looks at women in a certain way. I understand you have your reasons, but that's you. That's not me. And I think now men have learned themselves, and that's the difference. Men are starting to learn themselves to say that they're really seeing what's being said to them. They're no longer looking at the woman's body. This is why you got so much insecurity. And then I want to say to go back to the 15% of women who are in relationships or are married, those that are true. That's 15%. Now let's go with the other. Let's go with the other 85%, right? Or let's go with the other 85%. So when we look at that 85%, those are women who are married, but when they're at work, they're on social media, getting validation from other men. They might not be running out sleeping with them, but they're getting validation. Now they're doing the same thing at home, just like, well, men are not so prone to do it, maybe the younger generation, but older men, no. But, they're sitting there, seeking validation outside of the relationship. So it's basically saying to us as men that if you can talk to me on social media, you're in a relationship, what's going on, what's really going on in your relationship? Are you really happy? And this is why we have so much stepping out of relationships. And, women have to get in control of what their needs are. They're going to have to start dealing with, those insecurities. We've all been through stuff. All through life. Some of the most heinous and worst things that can happen to a child. So we've all went through traumatic experiences in one way or another. However, men are not held accountable to their childhood trauma. Or men are not held accountable to their childhood trauma. It should be like, oh, get over it and move on. But where the woman comes and it goes through something like that and they have issues, then we have to be understanding. It can't work like that. It just can't work like that, and this is the result of it. So, hopefully more and more people, I see a lot of content creators, male and females now, that's really starting to, put these things together to, put some of these women to where they need to be. Hopefully, we can get these women to, listen, just like us, just like the men when we're talking to the men, that we can get them to listen. Because, love is left to earth. And, I've been speaking about things inside the, the Bible lately. But, the words of Yahushua, Jesus, to some Yahushua, he said, that the love of the greater will cool off. And when I heard that, I was like, what does that mean? Like, people being nice to one another? And then, basically, yes. And it has happened. So, like I said, I'm always saying, it doesn't matter what you believe or not. Now, if somebody wrote a book, if this was written over 3,000 years ago, and what is being said is true, then these people knew what was going on back then. And I think that we need to go back and listen to what some of these people were saying, whether it's in a religious sense or whether it's through a philosophical sense. Read and understand what was taking place in the world. It's the only way that we can correct it. But for right now, we're at a standoff. And, I feel for you women out there because, you want relationships more than anything. And like I said, some of the females that I run into, they get mad when I say, I don't want to be in a relationship. I don't want a relationship. So why were you being nice the whole time? And then a man says, hey, I don't want a relationship. Then the woman gets vindictive. But it happens in relationships too, that when you say no, you get vindictive. Women are capable of doing some of the dirtiest, worst things to a man. And that's another reason why men have pulled away from women. Because we know that when we say no, what do you hold in? You ration off the sex? And that's another key. Most women, when they get in relationships, in the beginning, the sex is there, and then a year after, you're only getting sex maybe once, twice, maybe in a month. You know what I mean? So what's it really all for? What's the prize? And this is why relationships are falling apart. So what makes up for the one or two times that it happens in a month is what's in here. That if there's that 50-50 and working together, that's what love is all about. So that is more precious than those one or two times. That's what makes those one or two times spectacular, where you're gonna want to do it more. But women, they go through these things, and you're gonna have to figure it out. But I had to put that out there for more motivation, because like I said, time is getting short. It really is. And like I said, I'm always gonna point to these catastrophes. They're magnifying, and but also we still have to live. And so why not let us try to start beginning to live the right way? And for, like I said, the one thing I want to leave with the women, the men that are out there, the women that are out there that you might be around and, you're seeing these things, you have to speak up. You have to speak up, because if you don't speak up, things will continue as they are. you know. And I think that a lot of things are happening now, male and female sides, because people aren't speaking up. They're like, oh, I can't say that, you know, that's my friend. No, your friend wouldn't. If that's your friend and your friend is disrespectful to other people and disrespectful to them, but they're nice to you, then you're just as bad as your friend. You know, not saying it directly to the females. I'm just using that as an example. That scenario. So I'm gonna let everyone get on with their day. I should have another one tonight for Pure Light. And like I said, you know, I put this out, but you know, we're still gonna go on with the schedule of what the topics were and how they're gonna come out. But like I said, you know, every day something new is happening and the world is changing in every 24 hours at such a rate that so many things are happening. And just this morning, I'm gonna leave this just with this morning. Two couples found dead around the area where I live. And then what was it? 3 weeks ago, a month ago, another guy killed his wife. There's something serious going on. I'm talking about today. If you're in Connecticut, look, listen to the radio or look it up online. Two different families, two couples, male and female, dead. So we got to wake up. We got to wake up because we are off the hinges in so many different ways. While everybody's doing that Christmas shopping and everything else, you know, I hope that everybody is safe. But right now we're dealing in a world where a lot of people are really, really unstable. So have a beautiful day. Be the best person that you can be in spite of everything that's going on. It doesn't stop you from having a heart and for standing up for what's right. And that's where it all begins. So with ladies as well as men, women, children around the world, all people, all colors, all languages, no matter what goals that you have set forth for yourself this day, if as long as it involves and benefits all of humanity, may those goals come to fruition. Have the best day. Be the best person that you can be. With that, everyone, peace and blessings.